Hello, Hayley Rice.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
How are we?
Good.
Good. We are back and we're talking about, is it just us?
Mm-hmm.
Or is resilience now a skill that we actually need to teach our children more than ever? Like we learnt it by living in a tougher world. Not that we had it too tough.
Mm-hmm.
And then the generation before us learnt it very naturally by having a tougher world for them, and then before that it was tougher again. But when I was thinking about the pod this week, I was like, I want to talk to Hayley about this. And I haven't said this to her before, by the way. Because I'm like, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you not during the week, or because I have to ask you on the pod. Because we just wanted to just flow and be natural. But my cousin just had a baby, so he's had a little girl, and it's her 20th great grandchild to be born into our house.
My
so
God.
it's a big deal, number 20.
Wow.
And I'm obsessed with my cousin, first of all, because I was 9 when he was born. He was like my baby, and now he has a baby, and he's sending me videos of his wife, like smiling at the baby and making her laugh, and like it's absolutely divine. But I just think that we need to coin. Hayley and Debbie are going to coin a new word for the way a mother smiles at their baby.
Oh.
And equally the way a baby looks at their mother. Like, it's just like the light up of faces is incredible. And even I watch people at the school gate when they're collecting their children, or just when I'm out and about and you see people looking into a buggy, and like the smile, like it's not a smile that anybody else gets. Do you know what I mean? It's this look
you're so right.
of like absolute unconditional love and joy and obsession and adoration and everything that goes with it. But like none of them describe it.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
It's more than love. It's something. There's this connective.
Totally.
Like I see you, kind of. I know you. Like
it's such a connective piece, because it's like it's like delight. It's like that look of delight, but it's more.
But
because
it's more,
like I can look at you with delight.
Yeah.
Because I love you. No, but like because I'm mad about you, and I think you're a lovely person, and I delight in you. I do. But I don't delight in you the way I do my children. No offense.
No, that's such a good point. Is there a word for that already? I feel like I've read some, but it's not used. Maybe.
I don't know.
No,
I was
maybe
like,
it's not. Remind me.
Is it like a loveration? An adore obsession?
Yeah.
But like, it's just, I want us to think about it.
Okay.
For the next time, put it into the little cogs.
Okay.
And see if we can come up with a word.
What a lovely way to start off.
That just,
do
you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And do you know what it is? I actually had this last night, because I'm just going to mention sleep again.
Sorry about this.
But like, I was on my own last night, so John was away, and I was settling him for bed. And look, it was getting to 9:30, and we were still at it. And bedtime was going on and on and on and on and on. And I was like shattered. And I had this like, oh my God, just go to sleep. Please just go to sleep. Anyway, eventually he did fall asleep in my arms. And when I looked at his little face,
I know.
I was like, no, I don't want to put him down. And now I wish I could bottle this moment, because he's going to be 18 one day. He's going to be 30. He's going to be, hopefully all well, going well. Like, he's going to not be in my arms. And that would be beautiful and terrifying and grief-worthy. And I'm like, oh my God, my baby. And I was looking at his face, like every little cell, every little hair in his head, like his eyelash. Oh, like he's divine.
It's just unreal.
And I'm like, put him down. You have waited hours to put him down.
Put the child down.
But I actually just like, God, isn't that motherhood sewn up like this constant dual process of like, I just need a break and I just want you to go to sleep. But now that you're asleep, I don't want to leave you.
I know.
And like, you're just divine. You're like, I can't let go. Yeah. Like, oh my God, it's such a melt.
It is such a melt. It is.
Sorry, but it's
and like that doesn't go away. Like,
No.
I just look at mine and I'm like, you are the most amazing little thing
Beings.
in the world. Like, they're every little freckle on their face.
And the way they
Like,
change
not when they're annoying me.
eyes,
Like, when they're annoying me, I want to throw them out the window. But
yeah,
like,
it's the two-way
when
thing
we're
all
in
the
that
time.
lovely peace,
Yeah.
or when they're asleep, when they're asleep, it's always the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or when you look at their little handies. Do you know if you're just having a moment and you're like, they're little handies, and you're like, okay, you are tiny.
You are so tiny.
What do you need from me?
I can't get over, like, and the way he's changing in front of my eyes, like when he looks like different.
Yeah.
He's changing rapidly, like, and the face is changing, and that's such a lovely way to start the pod. What made you think of that for the resilience pod?
I don't know. It wasn't even particularly for this, but it was just
in your
like,
mind.
do you know what it was? I think I was reflecting on how aware we are as parents now, and just how much we focus on wanting to get things right for them in a way that was never before. And I'm not saying that in a mean way to the generations before us, but you know, it was a tougher time, and like the focus wasn't all on us at all.
No.
And I suppose that's where the resilience part came into it, and that's where like how much we focus on our children now. It's so much
and
more.
There's so much more about parenting now, and like look at us,
there
podcasts and all the courses and blah blah. It's everywhere, isn't it? People talking about different styles, and
I think we learn to be resilient, and I'm saying this in the nicest ways possible, but it was because my parents did what they wanted to do, and we followed along for the ride.
Yeah.
Now I do whatever it is that will make my children happy and content, and I go along for the ride.
Yeah, it's so different when you put it like that.
Like,
worlds apart.
We sat in pubs until they were ready to go home, and you were flaked on the couch, and you were like, "Can we please leave?" And they were like, "You know, just one more drink.
Here's another packet of potatoes.
Go and have. There's another 30p to get yourself a Coke or whatever." And like even holidays, like whilst of course they did do things that were suitable to us, we still waited a lot. We hung around, like we didn't get the best seat. We ate what we were given. And there's just so much more choice now. Like I'd be falling, like my house is like a friggin' hotel. What would you like for breakfast, sir? We've got, and there's an array of things. Yeah. Mine are like little freeloaders. That's all they are then too.
And even then, if you think back to like our parents' generation, like I know my dad's one of 9.
Oh yeah.
In a 2-bed. And like they were all packed into the house. Like we live in that house now, and I'm like, it's a bit small. But small. There's not 9 of us there, 10, 11 of us.
No. My dad's house
the diet
was like
and
a mobile. They had no running water.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think they had a toilet in the house. They had no freaking shoes. Do you know?
Yeah.
And I know it's all relevant and the world has changed, but those things, like my parents' generation, we'll say, like they had no choice but to be resilient because the world was tough, and you got by as best you could. Yeah. And like I love hearing stories. Sometimes when my dad would tell them about different things. Oh, he tells a really funny one actually about these sweets that they used to love in the shop down the road, and they were called penny mouchines.
Penny what?
Penny mouchines.
Mouchines. Mouchine. Like a
so
small
a mouse.
Stop.
But mouchines, if you're ever Mayo.
Stop
Penny
it.
mouchines, yeah.
That's
and
so
he
cute.
remembers at school, for all he went to school now, that fella, but he remembers he had to sell these tickets for school for something when he was small. I think he said he was only around 6 or 7. And his dad's friend bought them all off him. So he got a few pence, or he got, I think, 6 pence or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember now. That could be way off. But he went and he spent the money on penny mouchines in the shop.
Penny mouchines.
I know. And they were like marshmallow ones, like big ones. And he said they were the most delicious things he's ever tasted, because like they would like get the pot of friggin' gruel and porridge, you know, and you'd have to be there for the week, you know. Oh yeah. And he got found out, of course, and he went home and his dad leathered him.
Oh, well, that's
but
the other
that
side
was
of
the
it.
way, you know. But like when he tells the story, he's still like, it was worth it.
Yeah.
It was worth the
It was
leathering
for the
penny
mouchines. It must
mouchines.
have been absolutely delicious.
I know, but like they wanted for a lot.
For a lot.
Yeah.
An absolute lot.
And our children, do you know, and I suppose I know there are children in the world that do want for a
Of
lot, and in our
course, yeah.
communities that do want for a lot. But I suppose I'm talking from my own perspective as a parent, you know, in a kind of middle class home, comfortable enough. They don't want for things, like they don't wait for things, and
Even
like
the next episode of a show, it's instant.
no, everything is instant. Like they don't understand waiting,
No.
because like even ads, you know, on the telly,
ads.
they're like, what are these? And we're like, they're ads. Like,
Oh my gosh,
they're
really?
ads on the freaking telly. Like, do you realize like that we used to have to? Do you remember doing this when you were small, or not when you were small, when you were a teenager? And you'd wait, and the radio show would be on. You'd wait with your two fingers, the one on the record and one on the play, and you'd be making a mixtape for your boyfriend.
Long Wave Radio, Atlantic 252.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Atlantic 2.
What the hell
No,
was
that's
that?
not the right tune.
Do you remember that radio station?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah. What the
Atlantic
hell was
252.
that? I've loads of, probably have them somewhere,
Mixtapes.
tapes from that. They always
Yeah.
played the best
Yeah.
grooves.
But like if you missed the start, you'd be raging. Do you know, and you'd have to wait, and
Oh,
you'd be
yeah, if you
rewinding
didn't
your
get the full
cassette, like
thing.
to try and stop.
Imagine.
Like there was such torment, and now they're like, Alexa, will you play? You know,
Yeah.
Apata,
Yeah.
or whatever else.
Oh my God.
But like, it's not their fault that the world is like this.
That's the key bit.
Yeah. Because I'm seeing a lot of parents going, you know, and even myself, I'd be like, they're so ungrateful. Do you know, we do all these things, and they're getting to experience the world and go on holidays and Santa visits and all this thing. And then they come home and they're like wasps, or, you know, they're in the car and they're killing each other. And they're like, you know, we're like, they're so ungrateful. But like, we're doing all these things.
And
like,
they're still kids. Like, they're still allowed to feel whatever they want.
And we're bringing them to all of these big experiences, we'll say, and expecting them not to be dysregulated as a result, but expecting them to feel really grateful that we've brought them.
Because we have the perspective of, well, I never got to go there, or I wouldn't have been allowed that, or
no, but they couldn't
you're
get
entitled now. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's also for me like thinking about the different ways that you can become resilient, because like I know there's a narrative out there of like, well, you know, I was slapped and I'm fine, or you know, I'm fine. But it's like that was actually really unhelpful way to be resilient. You were probably in survival,
totally,
and have maladaptive coping and personality traits even as a result of trying to cope through chaos at home, or
really
feeling
tough times.
in survival mode and being hungry, and like it's that's not actually. Whereas the research on resilience is like, the more you love a child, the more you support them, the more they know there's a safe base, a safe connection, they can come with you with anything. That's what actually builds resilience in a healthy way.
Yeah.
So it's like that's actually worlds apart as well, isn't it? And hard maybe for people to understand, like,
I know
that it's not about kind of give them a kick up the arse and that's going to keep them tough.
Not at all.
It's not.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about, I don't know, I think even really simple ways of teaching resilience are just like getting out in the rain. Do you know, like I can't go out now, it's raining. Like, we live in Ireland, it's going to rain 300 days of the year. Like, like there's so much to be learnt from feelings of discomfort.
Yes.
That you
just
can
being stretched a little bit to their edge. Yeah.
Stretching to the edge and getting out and throwing on the wet gear or getting wet. And for me, sometimes it's me the one, you know, that I'm like, we won't go out now because it's raining. But like, the elements, the natural outdoors, all of that can be so good for just overcoming and sitting through not feeling fabulously comfortable all the time.
Yes, and that's like both physically but also the emotion discomfort and like not jumping in to fix things.
That this is a really big one that comes up so much, as you will know and I will know from working with parents, and we do tend to want to fix because we love them so much, and we
natural
don't want them to like be hurt by anybody, and you're like, oh my god, how dare they
I know.
how dare they hurt my child.
Yeah.
I was actually doing a podcast recently with somebody, and he was saying to me that his little 3-year-old was at school or in Montessori or whatever, and she had gone to school with, like, those snap bracelet things.
Mm-hmm.
She don't think that when they go on your thing, and she loved it. And she didn't steal, like, look at my bracelet. And she came out and had someone broken it on her.
Oh.
And he was saying, I wanted to, like, sucker punch a 3-year-old. He was just like, how dare
he knew how much she loved it.
Yeah, it was just like, how dare you hurt my child? And it was all the questioning. Who was it? Why did they do it? I brought her home, and he bought like 1,000 snap bracelets on Amazon and was like, you will have these forever, you don't mind that, and all of that. And I was like, this is hilarious, by the way, but whilst that was wonderful, we just jumped into fix and didn't sit with the discomfort of feeling disappointed and frustrated and annoyed and something being gone and us not replacing it with something to make them feel better. That is huge.
Sitting, because if the child's in a discomfort of any kind with their feelings or whatever, the parent is. And if you can't sit in your own discomfort of, I want to fix this, or, oh, I'm powerless here, then it's hard to hold your child's discomfort as well. But all they really want you to do is hold their discomfort, isn't it? And just be the little container for it.
Yeah.
And not rush to fix. And that's the resilience building. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But
yeah, but it is so simple in theory, but it's so hard not to fix when they're like, I don't know, John broke my pencil, and you immediately are like, why did they do that? And I'm going to, it's just like, but like, all we need is, okay, that sounds really tricky.
Yeah.
I wonder what that was like. And they're like, it was awful. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. A little space to process the broken pencil
space.
Or whatever. It's the space.
It's even, like you always say, just going, oh.
Yeah, and say nothing. And leave a silence. Imagine. I feel like that never happens. Why did you break your pencil? What for? What did you say to tell the teacher? Why didn't you tell the teacher? I told you before, tell the teacher.
Yeah.
Instead of just going, oh.
Yeah, or
nothing
like, okay, like, no, I'm just like trying to hold the space for a second. Okay, we're both going to stop and hold space. Irish people aren't comfortable with space.
No, we're not.
This is a whole other pod.
Yeah, we want to keep.
We feel going. We need to fill space with words.
Chattering.
It's really funny.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's so amazing when someone does it for you. Because it's like, oh, they're really listening. And actually, my cogs are turning now. And how did I feel about John breaking my pencil? Well, actually, I was fuming.
Yeah.
Or actually, I don't really care. I just wanted to tell you something that happened today. Yeah. I forgot about it 2 seconds later. Like, it's often not the big thing then. If they feel heard.
Yes.
And we don't have to be doing.
No, or dismissing either. Yeah, sometimes we can go be like, but you're grand.
But it's only pencil, you have 10 of them. And what are you on about?
Get you another pencil. Be sound. No.
They're not looking for
either.
either.
The little shop there now to get you another pencil.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's just hearing them and going, I love that one from Dr. Becky. Like, I'm so glad you told me about that.
Yeah.
Because this is where we're coming into listening to the little things when they're little.
Little things. And
so
then
they come to you with the big things when they're bigger.
Course. And it's like, I'm so glad you told me. And if you don't know what to say, or you're caught in the hop, or you don't have a fix, it's like, I don't know what to say. I'm just going to listen, or I need a minute, or you know what, we'll figure it out together, for the bigger things, or for something that's shocked you a bit. I think that's just so lovely to nurture that space in the parent-child relationship. And when you, like, it's like a child internalizing that space inside them. Long after we are gone, there is this voice inside, this space inside them that goes, take a beat. How do I feel about this? I'll figure it out. I'll always find a way to figure it out. I can do this, because we've nurtured that as they've grown. And I just think, like, that's the goal for me anyway, that there's this space inside, and that's a resilient space. It's not an inner critic or an inner dismissing kind of voice.
No.
That if they have a feeling, oh, don't be silly. I'm always crying. Why am I always crying? You know.
I know.
It's like, no, I'm feeling this way, and oh gosh, I'll figure it out. I don't need to have all the answers. Like that voice is there for them, which is just unreal.
Yeah. And it's even like what we model for them as well in relation to resilience. Like it's how we deal with the small things
Yeah.
that happen, or the big things.
Yeah.
We don't always deal with them well now.
No.
You don't have to now, mind you. You know, we're always come back to the third rule. Good enough.
Yeah.
But like you have to reflect on yourself and go like, am I resilient? Like how do I manage when things don't go my way? Like do I fall into a hole sometimes?
Yeah.
Do I reach out to a friend? Yes. And it's for me anyway, and when thinking about my children, I'm like, what do I do if I have a shit day or a crap thing happens to me? I don't sit in it on my own. I look for a co-regulator. So like it'll be you sometimes, or it'll be someone else, or it'll be James. But I'm like, I need someone
to talk to
sit with me in this. And then when they sit with me in it, then I'm like, okay, I can move on from this, or I can get curious about it. And that's my resilience going, okay, I can manage to move on from this and do something else, or put that behind me and go, what I do, but that was about them, not about me.
That's their stuff.
That's their stuff.
Totally.
I know, but like, I think it's a good thing to teach the children as well. And I would try to be teaching my children this too. Like, if somebody is being, unkind to you or mean to you, whatever, like, we have to have empathy for them as well sometimes, because they might have a lot going on the inside of them, and that can be hard. It doesn't mean that we have to put up with it, but we can just like notice that, and they can get curious about it and like walk away, and it doesn't have to always be a big confrontation about it. It can just be like, okay, they might be having a hard time too.
Yeah, and that like perspective kind of taking of like what's going on for them, or like it's not a reflection of us, it's maybe they're going through something,
Yeah.
And that's amazing to see. I've seen that with kids I've worked with, where they kind of have that cog turning where a friend is unkind, like on a long-term basis, but they want to still be friends because it's like a popularity group or something, and eventually they go, oh, you know what, I actually don't, and they're a nice person and all that, but I think they're not for me. And I just, that growth of like the realization and the kind of resilience of, I can leave this group, or I can step out of the popular group at school, and I'll find someone else. I have my friends in gymnastics, I have my other pals, whatever, and being able to say, no, that's I'm stepping out of this. That's hard to do, but that's
very hard.
Going to happen where there's friends, isn't it? Like there's going to be fallouts always, and there's going to be changes, and I think the resilience around friendships for children is just so
huge.
important.
And we're kind of at that stage at the moment. They're in like second and third. Things are a bit trickier, and I'm really trying not to fix anything for them. Yeah, I'm really just trying to get curious. Like,
curiosity,
I wonder what you could do about that.
Yeah,
I wonder, is there any way you could make that better? And actually, I had an experience with one of them where I felt really bad lately, because it wasn't that I felt bad. I just think the child had reflected on themselves and felt bad about themselves. But anyway, it was just basically that there was a game going on in the yard, and they didn't want to play the game. So it was really annoying them. Like, they're like, everyone's playing this game and I don't want to play that game. I want to play a different game. And I said to them, like, okay, I told, like, it sounds really frustrating, when you want to play a different game and everyone's playing that game. It's not fair. And I just reflected, like, I wonder, do they always want to play the game you want to play? And they went, and there was this like realization of, oh gosh, they actually don't.
Okay.
And they play with me anyway.
Ooh.
And they got upset because they were like, oh my gosh, I mean, because I won't play
even though they've played when they didn't want to play my game, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, what a realization!
It was a real penny drop, one that they needed to have.
Yeah, but not an easy one.
Not an easy one, and it was like, it just happened from my curiosity around it. I wasn't like, you have to play. they don't want,
Yeah. Should I play with you?
Yeah. Do you know?
Yeah.
And then we just had the chat around friendships are tricky. And I don't always want to do what my friends want to do. And I want to spend time with them. So I do things sometimes that I'm not too bothered about.
Yeah.
And then they do things with me that they're not too bothered about. But that's what being a friend is.
Yeah.
And it was just but it happened for them naturally. I didn't like
force it, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Because he provides the space again for them to turn their own cogs on it and process and go, actually, there's times when it's on the other foot, kind of.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is funny. And even for ourselves, like in friendships, like, you know, it has to be a two-way street. And I think because children are so egocentric.
Yeah.
They're like, everything has to be my way or I'm not clean.
Oh, totally. They go to that phase massively, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know, it's too funny.
it's yeah. But I think there's also, I'm just thinking of, like, for Jack's age, resilience building is already starting for me, because he's getting so frustrated now when he can't, like, he's trying to put lids on things. Like, he's about to get him a watering can, and he's trying to put the lid on and off, or he has like massive big puzzle pieces and he's trying to fit them in, and when he just like has no frustration tolerance at all. So when he tries to do it and he doesn't get it, it's immediate. And it can be a loud noise, it can be a really frustrated noise, it can be a cry, and the little face he does, he kind of blinks and and it's actually like so cute. He's like, help, you know. And he really, like, the urge from me is like in my soul to go, here, I'll do it, give me the lid, I'll put it on for you. I know it goes in there, I'll do it. But I could do that all day long. Whereas what I'm trying to do is give him a little bit of space and time and go, oh yeah, have a go. Oh, you're trying. Now obviously if he's struggling to the point of like I can see he needs help, I do open the thing, or
no, just leave him there roaring.
Yeah, just leave him or walk off.
You'll do it.
And that's it.
Or you're getting no dinner.
Yeah, I threaten him and all with a sugar sandwich. But no, I leave him, but like I do leave him struggle it out a bit. And honestly, he's like a foot taller when he gets it.
Yeah.
And that's a competency surge.
Well,
yeah.
you know.
And the chemical change when they actually achieve whatever it is. I was trying to climb the stairs now as well, and I'm like, oh, not again. Like, he'd do that all day long if he could. But when he gets to the top, it's claps and it's wow.
It's
and
like, wow, look what I
look
can
what
do.
you did, or if he stumbles and he catches himself.
To it.
Yeah, and learning to walk, you know, he's stumbling, he's falling down, he's back up. That's the resilience in it, and it's so like embodied.
Totally.
So it's that body level of like, you know, and then the mastery of the little tasks, or putting the ball in the hole and doing all those things. It's just like there's, I'd say, 100 or more opportunities in the day to leave him just stretched to the edge again and let him have that competency surge. So it's confidence and resilience together, really.
Yeah, and esteem,
confidence, and
like,
and like actual real skills that he needs anyway. So not for me to be hijacking him. Yeah, you know, and taking away that skill of like putting a lid on something. He's going to need to learn to do that at some point, like, you know.
Totally. And I think as parents, we find it hard to wait for them to do it by themselves.
It's much quicker if we just put the
because
lid
we're
on
so
the
busy as well. So like there's times when we actually are too busy and we're like, okay, just give me the friggin' shoe, I'll try it. Yeah. We have to go. Yeah. But there are times when we can allow them the space to try to achieve or master a skill. And like that goes from opening lids when they're small to like the stage mine are at the moment, is like, you know, like buttering things.
Oh yeah,
it's freaking hard.
Yeah,
to butter. But like every ounce of me, especially if one of them is like, I'm like, someone's gonna get stabbed with a knife here. Do you know, like? Yeah. But it's just like I'm cutting up meat and using the cutlery and all those things. Now maybe we're late with that, but no, but like they've obviously used cutlery for a long time. But like cutting meat is very hard.
Yeah.
And it takes friggin' ages. And I'm like sitting there, like,
dinner's
but I'm
done.
trying to sit in my friggin' hands, like they're
Yeah,
going,
dying to
don't
do it.
do it for the
Yeah,
child.
I know.
And just different things like that.
I remember that though as a kid, being like, I do it myself. I'll do it, and like wanting to be like left to do the thing I'm so concentrating on, like cutting my dinner or something.
Yeah.
Like I remember that feeling of like, leave me alone until I do it.
I know.
You know?
Yeah, and like sometimes we just have to give them the time
Whenever
and
we
like
can,
that.
because it's not always available.
You do see the little joy where they're like,
but it's a total chemical change. Their
Yeah.
brain is literally sparking off there, like, and it's incredible what's happening inside. If we could see it, we'd do it all the time.
yeah,
If we could see the changes, but you can kind of see it in their face and stuff.
you can.
Yeah,
It's like this lovely opportunity for mastering a new thing that they couldn't do before.
yeah,
That's how we're all
at their own pace,
learning to be
wherever they are.
more. Would you call yourself a resilient person?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, but I definitely still like have times when I don't feel resilient, and like when I'm tired.
When you're
It
tired.
goes out the window a bit.
I know.
Like if I'm in the full of my health and all, yeah, I could weather any
the full of my
storm.
health.
But like, I've definitely felt less resilient this first year as a mother.
Okay.
And I think it's just that like a matrescence and all the changes and like, adjustment to everything, and then lack of sleep, hormones. I don't know. I felt a bit like, whoa, the ground's gone from under me a bit here. But in general, yeah, I like that about myself, because like, and John always says that to me. He's like, God, you're just relentlessly positive. Like you could get,
That's lovely.
yeah. He's like, I don't know how you're like, you could have the worst day, the worst news, everything could fall to absolute shite, and I'd be like, okay, but we could do this. Now it might take me 2 days a week. It could cry my eyes out. I'd love a good cry. I'd be very, very I'd be all about expressing my emotions.
That's really good though.
But then I'll go, no, here's the plan.
Yeah.
So I pull back around.
Yeah.
Which I think, is
resilience in itself. It's being able to manage.
Find a little pathway or some little crack of hope or something, even when it's grim. And what about you?
I think I am more now than ever. I definitely wasn't.
Really?
In relation to if somebody gave out to me or somebody said that I did something wrong to them or did something wrong in general, I would just like beat myself up. And like I just wouldn't be able.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't be able to think that someone thought that I did something awful.
Yeah.
And I would be just like, even if their thought was irrational,
and even if you felt you didn't,
I would still be like, oh my God, I can't go up if they have that opinion of me, even though it was wrong or would be wrong. I would still be like, oh my God, this is horrendous. I can't cope. But I think through the training, definitely as well. Do you know that we did like that? Like we both did the masters in child and adolescent psychotherapy, specialising in play, the Children's Therapy Centre. It's like it like rolls out the tongue. But like you have to go through all your personal therapy for that. For your group therapy, and then you learn so much about how your brain and your body works and all of that.
And the reason why you found you were given out, or you found it hard to be in that discomfort and all. Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? I came out that a completely different person. To be fair,
absolutely,
and way more resilient, I'd say. Because it's resilience is probably that self-awareness as well of like, oh, I'm doing this again, or oh, I tend to. Okay, Hayley, what's your tools here? Because you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling, and that like inner toolkit a little bit.
Yes, and that's a really good one to note for parents to try and help, the kiddies to have the little tools.
Yeah.
In their pocket.
100%.
To help them through big feelings or through hard times that they might be struggling with. And like, I love teaching any child that I work with. I'm always saying this to teachers in schools as well, like teaching children that like, you are in charge of your thoughts. I didn't know that until I was about 35.
Oh my God.
Like I literally just like, I was like, stop.
No, I literally was in my 30s because I remember being at therapy. We had to do the personal therapy for training.
Yeah.
And I had decided I'd do CBT for a while to try it, because I also was researching CBT, and I was like, oh, let me try that, cognitive behavioral therapy for anxiety. And one of the first days, it was a male therapist as well, which was also suggested to me to try a male therapist, and I was like, okay. And the first thing he's like, well, as you know, we don't have to believe everything we think, and your brain has hundreds of thousands of thoughts a day, and a lot of them are just rubbish. And I was like, what? I get excuse me.
I know.
If someone had just said that to me,
I was literally like mind blown.
but I know that's like, we're messing, but honestly feel like if someone had said that, imagine a teacher or somebody said that to you when you're in like 5th or 6th, and they were like, look, your brain's going to tell you this, or you know, try and mind read people, you know, like those major things, like we tend to think, oh, she thinks this of me. No, you don't know what she thinks. You can't read her mind.
I know.
You know, and there's a thought that pops up saying, oh, this is going to be terrible. Is that true? How do you know?
I know.
Like, challenge it. Those things, I just think,
It's
wouldn't that have been nice?
Wouldn't it be lovely? Because I even do that with the kiddies at night time, and this is kind of another like kind of resilience building thing for them as well, around changing their thoughts. You know, if they're scared or anxious or you know, at night time, and like they have tools or like that they know already. So like they'll do their 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or one of them loves counting backwards from like 300 or doing the alphabet backwards, and because I have also taught them, which I also didn't realise till I was about 35, that you can only think about one thing at a time.
I know. So if you're counting, like, you're not able to think. Yeah.
So when someone said that to me, I was like, lies.
Ding dong.
I can think about 47 things at a time. I can't.
No.
So when I lie in bed, ruminating, giving out to myself over the things I did when I was 19, because I love a bit of rumination, then I'm like, okay, frig this now. Z, Y, X.
I don't think I could do the alphabet.
I've done it so often now.
Oh my god!
I can't even still do it. So
I can only say it if I sing it.
Backwards.
Forward.
Oh, I was like, you can sing it. LMNOP. But that's my go-to if I'm like, right, shut up now.
Yeah.
19-year-old Debbie didn't mean that.
Oh
Leave her alone.
God, you were self-tortured.
I know, but you see, it's funny, and I've actually only realised this in the last few years. So I would not describe myself as an anxious person, because anxiety is generally thinking about things that may or may not happen in the future. However, I love a bit of rumination. Yeah. So I will be down and sad and murdering myself over things that I've done in the past.
Oh my gosh.
Which I cannot change.
Let go, Deb.
Yes. Now I have let go, and I, you know, obviously done a lot of work around that with my dolls, you know, the Russian dolls. It's okay, 19-year-old Debbie. You were also, you're there, so I am now where I am today. No, and I do believe that genuinely, and so I don't do it as much anymore. But it does creep back in because it's like a habit, and I think it's good to reflect for yourself, like, would you be more anxious, or would you be more, because like you're generally you're more one way or the other, and you would have been anxiety more
massively so. Anxiety growing up, and now like it's all but gone, the anxious part, like but because I've done a lot of parts work in the IFS stuff, which is unreal, because I know
we should do a full episode on that.
I have an anxious part that I work on, but I find now it's less like, oh my god, I'm so worried, or oh no. What happens is I get a grump. I get a grumpiness. Ooh. And that's what I've realised. And I know a lot of parents will say that too. Oh, there's pure grumpy with me, and pure like slamming doors, or like angry even. It's like, that can be anxiety too, because I experience that where I'd be like just out of sorts and like gone quiet and and then it's like, I'm actually worried about today. Yeah. And so it's a different kind of worry. It's a weird one, the way it shows up. Yeah. And it's only the odd time though, yeah. But a lot of work has gone into that, oh my god.
Yeah, a lot. And like we have to think about, even in relation to resilience or anxiety or anything like that, and how our children are, like, a lot of it comes down to temperament.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, you can be born like with particular things that affect you differently to other people because of your biological makeup.
And there's also life experiences that is nobody's fault.
Yes.
And you know that certain things happen that maybe threw a child off or was traumatic, and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. That,
Yeah.
you know, and that healing and resilience and all that's possible. Like, we're humans, we're on this kind of journey, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
But like, it's all part of their makeup, and yeah, there's so much you can do though, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. And even all the different things that we've talked about, they're all tiny little things that we can do to help them to just
Yeah.
build those skills and be patient with them.
Yeah.
Because we're not all born resilient and ready to
No.
take off out the door with our suit and our briefcase when we're
we go.
3.
I'm so
I'm
confident.
just off to a meeting.
And like, I know at the start you kind of said like the world was harder back then when we're thinking of ourselves or our parents, but actually in other ways
In
it's
other
harder
ways, it's
now.
harder now.
So it's
yeah.
all kind of relative. Like, they're dealing with
Yeah.
other things. Yes, they've instant cartoons. They don't have to wait on an ad.
They
But
do,
they
and
do
they've
have other. I mean, we want to look at the social media and all the
social media
other
and
things in the world.
screens and all the different things that
Yeah.
are coming. Like, it's just different.
It's just different.
Now.
So we're tweaking
Yeah.
how we approach things.
Yeah,
I guess.
and maybe they won't learn some of the resilience that we learnt as naturally. So sometimes we do just have to help them to teach it. And even like with the delayed gratification thing, 'cause I think that's a big one. And parents bring it up a lot, you know, that they're ungrateful or like, you know, they want for nothing. Also our fault, because they want for nothing because we gave them everything that they want. And this is like down to treats and, you know, all of that kind of thing. Like, mine are always laughing at me because they're like, you didn't get treats all the time. I'm like, no, we got 30p after Mass on a Sunday and you spent it well, I tell you. Do you know?
What did you get, Wappa?
So 2 Wappas, 10 penny sweets and a 10p bag of crisps.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I would be looking at my brother and sister. They would get one thing. They would get like one Galaxy each.
No.
And I'd be like, you spent your full 30p on
No,
one
you
thing.
get all these
I'd be there
things.
like little mouse nibbling away at my things, like, and they would have bought the one thing, yeah.
Oh,
But they love hearing that story. But like now, like you go into the butcher's, there's lollipops. Like, they finish a camp and there's Easter eggs, and they do like it's all of the time. It's constant, and
True.
it's actually quite hard to keep a handle on, even though you try to. And then you're like trying to be intuitive around the eating, but that's a whole other thing. But like, there's just been thrown so much. But with the delayed gratification thing, I saw something recently, and it was actually really good. So, if they ask for like, I don't know, a packet of crisps or jellies or whatever, a good thing to do, especially when they're smaller, if it's at the weekend. So, okay, you can have jellies now. Yes. However, if we wait until later, we can have jellies and some crisps.
Oh.
So it's just that simplicity of going, can I wait to get something else? Now, it doesn't have to be treats. It can be anything. Or, you know, can we go to the playground? We can. I know you'd love to go to the playground. We will. And we can go for this amount of time. Or if we wait until this, we can go for longer.
Okay.
So it's just like pushing things out a little bit.
and even having them think about,
Yes.
if there's a wait
Okay.
involved, what's that
Yeah.
even like?
And it's just, I suppose, holding the boundary of if they don't wait, then they don't get the thing later. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like small little tweaks like that can really help, especially for the little ones who aren't very patient about waiting.
Oh my God. I
No.
get screamed at. Jack,
I know.
we can't wait at all.
No,
But I'm using that word a lot. I'm kind of saying to him, oh,
you
wait,
find
it's
it hard to wait.
Waiting.
Yeah, and they do find it
And you
hard
just
to
keep
wait
shouting.
and to queue. And I suppose we might do a pod on the screens and all of that at some point. But I suppose because the screens are there now and the phones are so readily available, we often can fall back on that when we are waiting. And, you know, we have to be just aware, mindful of like if you're in a queue or if you're waiting at dinner or whatever. Dr. Becky talks about this as well. It's like if we don't teach them, you know, to wait for food in a restaurant, if that's what you like to do,
True.
without a screen to keep them
To
occupied,
yeah.
then, you know, we're not doing them
And
any
when
favor.
are they not occupied? I know.
Yeah, that we can't have a conversation.
Yeah.
And
It's tolerance to waiting
it's
is built. It has
tolerance.
to be built,
Yes,
actually.
it's building the tolerance. And to be fair, I think as a world, we have become very
Intolerant to
Yes.
waiting. Yeah.
like if I'm for a second, I'd pick up the phone. Like, you know,
I know.
oh, I'm not doing anything. I will pick up my phone.
I know. You're occupying all the time.
all the
Or
time.
even like if something doesn't load, I'm like, oh, for God's sake. Whereas
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
used
like
to
tick, tick, tick,
remember
tick,
the dial up, the internet. You'd be like trying to wait, and the
Yeah.
page to load could take
Yeah.
half an hour. You'd go
Yeah.
off and make a cup of tea and
Yeah.
come back.
But she'd be sitting there. We always had to wait. I don't know, was your
True.
dad a person who made you wait in the car? No.
Mm.
Oh God, James's dad was as well. So like, I suppose our dads were like in the building and painting kind of a thing. So I was obsessed with my dad. I still am. But when I was small, so he'd be going to work, you know, at the weekend, and he'd be like, "Do you want to come?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, of course I do." And he'd tell me he'd buy me sweets on the way out the road, so I'd be like, "Sound." And I'd only be about like whatever 7 or 8. But I would go with him, and he would buy me sweets, to be fair to him, on the way out the road. But then we would go somewhere, and he would meet someone, like a man about work.
Oh yeah,
And I would sit in that fucking car
yeah.
with nothing. You could be
Alone with your
2
thoughts.
hours sitting, and I would have played with the thing that rolled down the thing. I would have messed with the radio. I would have twiddled my thumbs, looked outside. Like, you could be 1 or 2 hours, and we were always left. If Dad went into a fucking shop at all, he'd be like, "Oh lads, we're here for the long haul."
I actually do. I
Yeah.
did have that experience because my dad
Yeah.
was a truck driver
Yeah.
in the early part of like when I was very young, and we'd go off like that at the weekend. We were like, "Can we go with you?"
Yeah.
And they were, "Oh my God," because
Yeah.
he's gone off to do the load at the back or
Yeah.
tied down something that he's chatting, and
I
it felt like forever.
I'd be like staring at the clock, waiting for it to tick on to the next bit. Like,
But isn't it amazing the tolerance you would have had for waiting? Just because
Absolutely.
you'd no other choice.
and you wouldn't say a word when he got back in either.
Oh no.
you
No, sure,
know-
it was normal.
My children, if I'm in the toilet, "Mommy,
Yeah.
where were you?" Do you know, like, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's just so different. And James always says that about his dad as well, that if he stopped off at Glyn's and Tuam, they were ghost. They were like, "Oh, we'll never get to Galway now because
Yeah.
he's going to be in there for like an hour." But like, they'd get back in the car and you'd all just sit there and go, "Okay, Daddy's back now." Now we're ready
off
to
we
rock on.
go.
Whereas our children would be like, "Where were you? What were
Oh, I
you
was
doing?"
waiting for so
Yeah.
long. I was so bored.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, it's actually mad.
Ah.
The waiting.
There's
thing is
loads to
gone.
reflect
Yeah,
on in that.
100%.
If you have any thoughts, guys, send us in, or any funny stories about waiting or
I know.
resilience or anything that you think has changed now. Drop us an email at isitjustuspod@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
bye,
Bye. Bye. Bye.
bye,
Bye.
bye.
You hang up.
See you now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.